The sun was bleeding red over the village of Nkara, and the air was thick with fear. The river was a trickle of mud. The crops were brittle skeletons in the fields. A child cried with a fever that would not break. In the center of the crowd, Nene, the chief's daughter, stood tall and beautiful, her voice sharp as a knife. "She sings to the moon while our children starve," she shouted, pointing a trembling finger. All eyes turned toward the small, lonely hut by the riverbank. It was Liana's home. Liana, who knew the secrets of herbs. Liana, who was always kind. But in their fear, the villagers saw not a healer, but a cause for their suffering. A single word was whispered, then shouted, tearing through the evening air. "Witch!" Inside her humble hut, Liana was unaware of the storm gathering outside. She knelt beside the feverish boy, wiping his brow with a cool, damp cloth. She hummed a soft, ancient melody, one her mother had taught her. "Hush, little one," she whispered. "The rain will come. The earth is only sleeping." When the angry crowd arrived at her door, she met them not with fear, but with sadness. "Please," she pleaded, her voice steady. "Have faith. The drought will break. I have done no harm." But her calmness was a language they refused to understand. The chief, her own uncle, looked torn. But Nene's smirk was a poison. "Do not listen," Nene hissed. "Her kindness is a mask for a wicked heart." The crowd stirred, a beast of many heads looking for a victim. Then, a man stepped forward. It was Bello, a farmer whose son Liana had healed of a terrible cough just one moon before. His face was pale, his eyes darting, terrified of the mob's judgment. I saw her," he stammered, not meeting Liana's gaze. "I saw her gathering strange roots by the lightning-struck tree." It was a lie, born of pure fear. Liana's eyes widened, filling with a pain deeper than any physical wound. This was betrayal. A low rumble of thunder echoed in the distant hills, a warning the village chose to ignore. The sky began to weep a few, fat drops, but the people only saw it as a sign of the coming storm she had summoned. Night fell, and with it, the villagers' sanity. Torches were lit, their flames dancing like angry spirits. They surrounded Liana's hut, their faces twisted in the orange light. Liana stood in her doorway, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs. Her hand went to the simple moonstone pendant around her neck, the only thing she had from her mother. "Mother, guide me," she whispered into the night. The first torch landed on her dry grass roof. With a roar, the flames took hold. As the fire climbed, Liana did not scream. Instead, she lifted her face to the hidden moon and began to sing her mother's song, her voice clear and strong above the crackling fire. A brilliant fork of lightning split the sky, striking the river with a deafening crash. The next morning, the village was silent, shrouded in the smell of smoke and shame. Where Liana's hut once stood, there was only a circle of blackened earth. The villagers searched the ashes, but they found no bones. No remains. It was as if the earth had swallowed her whole. The only thing that remained was her moonstone pendant, lying untouched on the riverbank. It glowed with a faint, milky light. The drought did not break. It worsened. The river shrank further. The fish disappeared. Hunger became a constant guest in every home. But no one spoke Liana's name. It was a curse, a ghost that haunted their silent, guilty thoughts. Nene walked through the village as if she had saved them all. She was celebrated, praised for her bravery in unmasking the witch. She sat beside her father on his carved stool, her arms heavy with new gold bracelets. "The village is safe now," she declared, but her eyes were restless. That evening, as she arranged her jewels, she froze. There, in the center of her polished wooden table, lay Liana's moonstone. It was wet, as if just pulled from the river, and it shimmered with an impossible inner light. She screamed, swiping it onto the floor. But the stone had vanished by the time her father rushed in. Someone, or something, had returned it, and taken it back. Down by the desolate river, a young fisherman named Cato mended his nets. His heart was heavy. He had always believed Liana was good. As the moon rose, he noticed something strange. A path of reeds, glowing with a soft silver light, led from the bank into the water. His heart pounding, he followed it. The water was still, a black mirror. Then, he heard it, a faint, familiar melody, the same song Liana sang the night of the fire. It was coming from beneath the water. He leaned closer, and a pale, graceful hand broke the surface for a moment, fingertips brushing the air, before disappearing into the depths. From that night on, Cato became a secret guardian of the river. Every evening, he brought small offerings. Fresh herbs from the forest, smooth, colorful stones, and the most beautiful flowers he could find. He would place them gently on the riverbank and wait. Some nights, he heard nothing. Other nights, the soft song would drift over the water, and a whisper would curl into his ear, saying his name. Cato. It was Liana's voice, filled with a sorrow as deep as the river itself. He never told a soul. He alone knew the truth in his heart, Liana was not dead. She had been changed by the fire and the water. The chief could not sleep. He was haunted by a dream where the river rose as a mighty wall of water and swallowed the whole village. He woke up gasping, his sleeping mat soaked, not with sweat, but with cold, fresh river water. Trembling, he lit an oil lamp. There, on the dry earth floor of his hut, was a trail of wet footprints. They led from the doorway directly to the mat where his daughter, Nene, slept. He shook her awake. "We must perform a cleansing ritual," he demanded, his voice shaking. "We have angered the spirits." But Nene, her own fear turning to stubborn defiance, refused. "It was just a dream, father," she said, but her face was pale. The festival of ancestors was a somber affair that year. The drums beat a hollow rhythm. The villagers danced without joy, their eyes fearful. As the chief poured a libation, the great talking drum suddenly fell silent, its skin split. In the stunned quiet, a soft rolling sound was heard. Liana's moonstone pendant tumbled from the shadows and came to rest in the central fire pit. Before anyone could move, the stone split in two with a clear, chime-like sound. From the broken halves, a pale, shimmering mist began to rise. It twisted and coiled, forming the shape of a woman's face, then a pair of watching eyes. A collective gasp went through the crowd. Whispers spread like wildfire. "Her spirit has awakened. Liana is not gone." Terrified and desperate for answers, Cato went to the old river priestess who lived in a cave upstream. She was the one who had taught Liana's mother the ways of the herbs. The ancient woman listened, her eyes clouded but wise. "The fire did not kill her, child," the priestess croaked. "It baptized her. Liana's mother was the chosen vessel of the river goddess. The power sleeps in the bloodline, waiting." Cato leaned closer. "Waiting for what?" he asked. The priestess smiled a toothless smile. "For a great wrong. An unjust burning. The flames did not destroy her, they awakened the goddess within. The river has claimed its daughter." For 7 days and 7 nights, a thick, impenetrable mist fell over Nkara. It was a fog so dense that a person could not see their own hands. No sun rose, no moon shone. The world was a cold, gray blanket. On the morning of the 8th day, as the villagers huddled in fear, a wind blew in from the river. It sliced through the mist, tearing it apart like old cloth. As the fog cleared, a figure stood on the surface of the water where the river should have been. It was Liana. But she was transformed. Her skin glowed, her hair flowed like silver reeds, and her eyes held the deep, calm power of the ocean. A tremor of pure fear ran through the village. Children hid behind their mothers' skirts. The elders, who had condemned her, now fell to their knees, bowing their heads to the earth. The chief stumbled forward, his voice a strangled whisper. A ghost. You are a ghost. Liana looked at him, her expression not of anger, but of profound pity. A gentle, knowing smile touched her lips. A ghost does not walk on water, uncle, she said, her voice echoing as if three people spoke at once. As she spoke, the river behind her rippled, its waves moving in perfect time with the steady, powerful beat of her heart. Liana glided to the shore and stood beneath the ancient sacred tree, its branches spreading like protective arms. Let the truth be heard, she announced, her voice carrying to every ear. She placed the two halves of her moonstone on the roots of the tree. They glowed, fused back together with a bright, pure light. A strange energy filled the air. One by one, the people who had lied felt a pressure in their chests, their throats tightening. The truth was pulled from them, unwillingly. They confessed their fears, their small jealousies. Then, all eyes turned to Nene. The force of the truth gripped her, and the story of her envy, her lies, tumbled out before the entire village. Nene screamed, a raw, desperate sound. No. She lies. She is a witch. She pointed at Liana, her body trembling with rage and denial. But the river answered her. The water at the bank began to bubble and rise. The gold bracelets on Nene's arms grew warm, then hot. Before her eyes, they twisted and transformed, becoming living vines that snaked up her arms, binding her wrists together. The weight of them pulled her down, and she fell to her knees in the mud, the truth finally crushing her spirit. Forgive me, she sobbed, but the words were lost in the sound of the rushing water. The ground beneath their feet began to shake, a low, deep rumble that came from the very heart of the earth. The river swelled, and from its center, a luminous figure emerged. It was the spirit of Liana's mother, formed of water and light. She was silent, her gaze sweeping over the terrified villagers before settling on the chief and his weeping daughter. When she finally spoke, her voice was the sound of 1,000 rivers flowing. The river forgets no kindness, she intoned, and it forgets no sin. It remembers every truth. Her spectral hand pointed at Nene, then at the chief, and the judgment in her eyes was absolute. The chief broke. The weight of his guilt, the vision of his sister's spirit, and the sight of his corrupted daughter shattered his pride. He crawled on his knees through the mud to where Liana stood. Tears streamed down his face, carving clean paths through the dirt. I have failed you. I have failed this village, he cried. He took the heavy, beaded crown from his own head and held it out to her. Please. Take it. Rule us. Let this be our penance. The crown glittered, a symbol of everything that had been taken from her. It offered power, but Liana saw the chain of vengeance it represented. Liana looked from the crown to her weeping cousin, Nene, who was still bound by vines of her own greed. The villagers held their breath, waiting for her revenge. But Liana's heart had been washed clean by the river. She took the crown from her uncle's trembling hands. Revenge is a heavy chain, she said, her voice clear and strong. It binds the one who carries it most tightly. I choose freedom. And with those words, she turned and placed the chief's crown gently upon the surface of the river. It floated for a moment, then slowly sank. A second later, it rose again, transformed. It was now a crown woven of living silver reeds and water lilies, glowing with a soft, magical light. Liana turned to the crowd, her eyes searching the faces until they found the one she sought. Cato, she called. The humble fisherman stepped forward, his head bowed. You showed me kindness when all others turned away. You trusted your heart. You listened to the river. She lifted the beautiful, ethereal crown from the water. A leader's worth is not in his wealth, but in the goodness of his heart. And she placed the crown of silver reeds upon Cato's head. A wave of shock and awe rippled through the people. Their new ruler was not a warrior or a noble, but the poorest among them, chosen for his simple, unwavering faith. As the crown settled on Cato's head, a single, fat raindrop fell from the sky, landing on a dry leaf with a soft pat. Then another, and another. A gentle rain began to fall, washing the dust from the leaves and the guilt from the air. It was the first rain in many moons. The river swelled, its banks filling with clean, rushing water. The next morning, the people woke to a miracle. The barren fields were dotted with the green shoots of new crops, growing as if they had been waiting for this very moment. The village erupted in joy. People danced in the rain, their laughter mixing with tears of relief. As the village celebrated, Nene found Liana standing alone by the river. The enchanted vines had withered and fallen away, but a deep shame clung to her. "Cousin," Nene pleaded, her voice hollow. "You speak of freedom. Free me from this curse inside me. Take this envy from my heart." Liana looked at her with pity. She reached out and gently touched Nene's forehead. "Then let it sleep," she whispered. A calm seemed to settle over Nene for a moment. But as Liana turned, the calm shattered. The poison in Nene's heart was too strong. With a cry of pure hatred, she drew a hidden dagger from her wrapper and lunged at Liana's back. Nene did not take 2 steps before the river erupted. A wall of water, clear and solid as crystal, rose between her and Liana. It caught her mid-lunge, freezing around her body. The water hardened, turning to a stone as smooth as glass. Nene was trapped inside, her face forever frozen in a mask of rage and shock, her arms still raised with the dagger. The statue stood by the riverbank, a permanent, silent testament to the cost of envy and the finality of the river's judgment. The villagers looked upon it with a solemn understanding. Some punishments are not about pain, but about remembrance. Liana did not become queen. She had refused that chain. Instead, she became the guardian of Nkara, its protector and its heart. From that day on, the village was ruled by the fisherman king, Kato. He ruled with the wisdom of the river and the kindness Liana had seen in him. There was peace and great prosperity. The harvests were always plentiful, and the river was always full of fish. And every night, when the moon was high, Liana would walk the banks, her presence a blessing that kept the land in balance. She was a living legend, a bridge between the world of people and the spirit of the water. To this day, when the moon is full and the night is still, the people of Nkara hear a beautiful song drifting over the water. It is the same melody Liana sang the night her hut burned, the same lullaby she used to heal the sick. The village children are told it is a blessing, a song that keeps the river pure and their dreams sweet. They fall asleep to its gentle tune, feeling safe and loved. But the elders, those who remember the fire and the mist, know the deeper truth. They listen and bow their heads. It is not just a blessing. It is a prayer. A nightly song of forgiveness from a heart that chose to heal instead of hate. And so, the story is passed down from grandmother to grandchild, a lesson carved not in stone, but in the flowing water of memory. The narrator's voice grows soft as the tale ends. Remember, little ones, they say, those who try to burn a light to destroy it only make its shadow larger and its return brighter. The river, like time, forgets nothing. It remembers every lie, every tear, every act of kindness. But if your heart is open, it also offers a second chance. It always forgives. The final image remains, the silent statue of Nene, the good King Kato placing flowers by the water, and on the river's surface, the perfect, shimmering reflection of the moon, side by side with the face of Liana.